Oonagh was in with the fairies too, and with her wand had once turned a hussy into a hound. She told Finn that she would help him to succeed. How, said Finn, hitting the table and sending Delph in all directions. Oonagh hurried out of the doorway in order to give a message to her sister, who lived on the opposite mountain at Cullamore. Grania, said Oonagh, are you at home? I'm in the kitchen garden, said Grania. I'm picking berries for a tart. Run up to the top of the hill and look about you and tell us if you see anything untoward, said Oonagh. They waited for a few minutes, with Finn pacing up and down and servants fanning him with great leaves. I'm there now, said Grania. What do you see? Said Oonagh. Oh, lossy me, exclaimed Grania. I see the biggest giant I've ever seen coming out of the town of Dungannon. What's he like? Said Oonagh. He's something terrible to behold, said Grania, and went on to describe a giant of about 12 feet in height, his hair all the way down to his waist, his face ruddy like any giant's, except that he had daubed blood all over it, and most unnerving of all, his 3 eyes. He had an eye in the middle of his head that was rolling around like the hands of a clock. Not only was the ground shaking beneath him, but the birds in the trees were dying of fright. Along with that, he was laughing out loud as if he had just heard the most hilarious joke. He's coming up to leather Finn, said Oonagh to her sister. Finn has my sympathy, said Grania, and then she just announced that the giant had picked up a white goat and was wringing its neck and was obviously going to eat it raw. I'll tell you what, said Oonagh. Call down to him and invite him up to your place for a bite to eat. Why so? Said Finn, unable to follow his wife's drift of thought. Strategy, said Oonagh. Strategy. Grania called across to say she'd be glad to oblige, and she'd entertain the monster, but she was a bit short of bacon and of butter. I'll fling you some across, said Oonagh, and she snapped her fingers for a servant to bring a flitch of bacon and a firkin of butter. However, before throwing them, she forgot to say her charms, and did the butter and the bacon fall into a stream and get carried away. Never mind, said Grania. I'll give him heather soup and I'll put shredded bark in it to give him indigestion. Good on you, said Oonagh, and she winked at Finn. He'll skewer me, said Finn. Don't be ridiculous, said Oonagh, although to tell you the truth, she could see a situation where she herself might be a dainty morsel, a little fritter for the giant's supper. My courage is leaving me. I'll be disgraced, said Finn. 2 heads are better than 1, said Oonagh as she went towards the place where she kept her magic threads. She drew 9 woolen threads of different colours. She plaited them into 3 plaits, with 3 colours in each one. She put a plait on her right arm, another round her right ankle, a third round her heart, and in that way Oonagh was protected. Then she got going. She asked the servants to go up in the loft and bring down iron griddles and a child's cradle. She got them to make cakes, but she hid the griddles inside the cakes and then baked them in the fire in the usual way. When they were done, she dusted them over with flour so as to hide any protuberances, and she put them on the window to cool. Then she put down a large pot of milk, which she later made into curds and whey, and showed Finn how to pick up a curd in his hand and make it smooth as a stone. Then she got a nightgown and a shawl and dressed Finn in it and put a nightcap on his head. She told him that he would have to get into the cradle and completely cover himself with clothes, with only his 2 eyes peeping out. I can't fit in a cradle, said Finn. You'll have to double up, said Oonagh. I'd have to triple up, said Finn as she pushed it towards him. You must pass for your own child, said Oonagh. But I'm not a child, said Finn, and he was afraid that he had just taken the cowardice too far. Oonagh ignored his mutterings and just put him into the cradle and covered him up with great wool blankets and red deerskins. What do I do? Said Finn. Wisht, said Oonagh, because they could hear the bruiser coming up the hill and giving a scalp of his axe to the dogs to shut them up. He strutted across the courtyard, and when he arrived at the door, he put a hand around either oak pillar and bellowed, Anyone home?
For too long now, I've been a stranger.